Hey guys! October is Mental Health Awareness Month, and we all know mental health topic tends to be very sensitive. It's generally something we don't talk about. Did you know men in South Africa die from suicide at a higher rate than women? Majida, it's about time we take care of our mental health. At Bayport, we take our mental health seriously and we want to do better. I'm Lotsa Hafela, a human resources business partner. Here's what the gents had to say.
I think it's more a difficulty in articulating the feelings than a comfortability issue in terms of being comfortable speaking about the issue. I think from a position of when we are raised to believe that men's feelings, I'm talking from my personal perspective, men's feelings are kind of irrelevant, so to speak. So we don't get an opportunity to learn how to articulate those feelings, which makes it difficult for you to then speak with somebody about it because you can hardly articulate those feelings. You know how to do things, but not how to necessarily say things. That's my point of view.
When you actually think about it as well, it's basically how society has been making genders perceive each other, basically. Over time, it's built up that men are stronger, men should be able to handle things without emotion, men should build up on everything or anything just to make sure that they can get past certain things.
Yep.
Meanwhile, it damages us as human beings because we don't get the chance to actually fully express ourselves.
Because now the majority of I think as men, again, we are pushed into that stream of, you will see when you get there.
You'll see when you get there.
Yeah, as long as
You'll make a plan.
Yeah, you'll make a plan. As long
You'll
as
be fine.
as long as the sun tomorrow comes up and you're a man, it means that one, you're alive, and two, there's still an opportunity for you to
carry on.
Yeah. But then the fact is, as a society, they do not realize the kind of impact or damage that it does in the long run. That's why, in my opinion, you have better men who act out in a certain way because they didn't get the opportunity when something happened. So it was just prolonged, and at some point it just pops. That's why we have some people who we find today are offish, but we cannot pinpoint why they are offish.
As we were growing up, we got orientated into a situation where men have to act in a certain way. Failure to do that, you will be labeled in a certain way as well. So where you find that if maybe as a man you end up showing certain feelings, you will be labeled, sorry to use the word, probably you'll be labeled as gauge, where you find that if you're portraying such emotions, probably people see you in a different light, to say you are a weaker gender, in a sense that you probably cry in front of most probably females. So as a man, you're supposed to act tough and be seen as tough, even though you hurt on the inside.
But we have to also understand that we all come from different backgrounds, different upbringings.
Yeah.
So personally for myself, I was brought up in a way where if you have a problem, if you want to speak, you have to speak. And it started off with parents. So usually it would be your mom. Dads on our side was a bit tough, but moms used to open us up. And then eventually as we got older, the dads used to explain to us, this is what usually happens, and it's normal to speak about your feelings. The emotional side of it should be kept away. So for us now, men should not show that emotion where you break down in tears. But in actual fact, we do have men that are emotional. We are also fragile. It's based on your trust with that person and how that person understands you and your upbringing too. Like, for instance, I would not come to you and explain to you how I feel right now, because that also brings judgment onto me. And I would rather speak to somebody that has no judgment at all.
On that issue is actually very greatly what hits a man hard, technically. Because when you think about it, being told that you can, but you are feeling that you can't, is a very contradictory situation. It actually leaves you in the dark of what do I do next. So with me, I don't ever actually listen to that. If I can't do something, I physically won't until I can.
That kind of statement creates so much pressure. So much pressure that if only I knew what do you mean being a man? Because there's no script, there's no book out there that says being a man, you need to act in this fashion. That you learn from others, and the question is, what do you mean to say I need to be a man? There's no answer to that question, because between the five of us, if you can ask each and every individual in this room, what is it to be a man? We'll all have different definitions, we'll all have different answers. But the question is, I'm being told to be a man. What is that? What is that? So there's so much pressure in that question that should you fail in being that man that needs to make a plan, if you don't do it, then it simply means you are not being seen as what you're supposed to be, which is being this man. And it's even more difficult where you find that the person that is saying that is probably your spouse or somebody that you're staying with in the same room, where you got to a situation where you got into this relationship, and when you got into this relationship, you understood that you saw her as your partner, as your wife or girlfriend. But when they start questioning your gender, to say, be a man, you start questioning a lot of things about yourself. What have I been? What is it? Am I that weak? So there's a lot of questions, there's a lot of pressure in a question like that. And eventually, you might end up doing something that we're not supposed to have done, or to have done something wrong. Like for an example, take a situation where, as a man, I'm unemployed, I'm staying at home, and I'm being given that statement that be a man, be like other men, make a plan. I mean, I know for a fact that I've been trying to get a job or whatever, but I'm not. So making a plan would mean do anything humanly possible to show that you're a man. And when I say anything humanly possible, I mean anything humanly possible, because there is so much pressure, you need to do something about it.
Because it can either sway on a positive or a negative way. With that challenge now, it's like you are a man, make a plan. It challenges your abilities. Can you do it?
Going back to the issue of how we perceive stuff. No? You might say it might be challenging, but to another person it might be demoralizing, in the sense that over and above the spousal thing as well, in a family setup, if you're told that you must be a man, and let's eliminate the issue of money or anything of that nature, you stepping up, it's emotionally draining, and it takes, and it sometimes breaks a person, because again it goes back to what you're saying, that it means there are certain boxes that you're not ticking, and it means again you have to push yourself over the edge,
basically.
And
how far you willing to go
and do more. And sometimes I think the thing is, all of us here get to a point whereby you can do, and then after a certain level you can't. Sometimes some people have expectations that just go beyond and above being impossible.
That's why I said it can either go negatively or positively.
I think context is important.
Yes.
Context is very important, because it depends who is saying.
Exactly. And how.
I'll give you two stark examples, right? If another man, an older man, a mentor, somebody you look up to, tells you that statement in a way to say that a man does A, B, C, and D, right? And these are in a good light, to try and show you that these are possibilities. There are people who've done this before, and there is a path that you can actually follow. It's not an impossibility, right? Then there is the condescending way that somebody can position the same statement and it will mean something totally different, you know. But I think it comes back to the perception that you get from it and how you then kind of deal with it. Like you were saying, you were saying that personally you don't listen to it, because if you tell me be a man, go and do A, B, C, and D. Can you do it? Like,
That's the thing.
who
That's
are
the
you
first
to
question
tell
I was
me?
asked. Yeah.
Who are you
It's
to
also
tell me
another
to
thing
go
because
and-
I've seen also, social media especially. When someone does something, or especially a guy, when they do something and you can see that they feel hurt or they feel pain,
Yeah.
then you'll see in the comment section, they're like, hey, bro, man up.
What does that mean?
What does that mean?